So that was an ugly game. That was not fun to watch. There were some great plays. There were things in the mix that were fun to watch. Khalil Shakir made a couple of great plays.
Hey, Khalil, that's a hell of a catch on that baby.
Khalil Shakir is my secret Bills crush. Don't tell anybody.
You ladies all right?
But other than the game itself, the Bills game, the rest of the weekend basically went as well as any Bills fan could have asked for. Basically every team that we needed to lose to move up in the playoff standings has lost. I read a lot of tweets about football. That seems to be a thing I do now. And a lot of it just starts being math, which it's not like I'm bad at math. I don't want football to be about math in this way. I don't want it to be constant changing percentages. And then a whole bunch of fantasy football gets into the mix and betting, and I don't do any of that. I avoid gambling. Remember that thing I said about being really competitive? I think fantasy football would be an absolute nightmare for both my own mental health and the mental health of anybody I have to interact with playing that game. But the Bills percentages did go up. Yeah, all that math is based on like the Bills should beat the first team in the AFC to get eliminated from playoff contention. We lost to the Patriots. They're not a good team, but it's a different quarterback than we played against. We can see if we can lose to Bailey Zappi the way we lost to Mac Jones. The Bills technically have a path to the 2 seed in the AFC right now, depending on what happens in the next couple of weeks. I don't know why I'm talking about this like I assume we're going to beat the Dolphins, but I kind of do assume we're going to beat the Dolphins. I don't know why that's just me being cocky, but I think we can beat the Dolphins. I think it's more like we lose to the Patriots than the Dolphins. As we have just seen, and we've seen all season, the Bills play like shit against the teams they should blow out of the water.
He missed it, but a flag is down.
12 men on defense. 5-yard penalty.
Wow.
Still 4th down.
So with that quick change, the Broncos were ready, and the Bills had 12 men on defense.
They play really well against teams like the Dolphins and the Eagles, the Cowboys, although the Cowboys didn't acquit themselves particularly well against the Dolphins. Now the Chiefs are falling apart, which is crazy. Mahomes looks like he's having a total mental breakdown, which I would too if none of my receivers could catch the balls that I throw. The Ravens obviously looked really good last night against the 49ers. What the hell was happening with the Niners? George Kittle cannot be your entire team. You know, Deebo Samuel cannot be your entire team. You need a quarterback.
If they are to win their final 2 games, which are at Washington and at home against the Rams, they control their own destiny.
You need a quarterback who everybody has been talking about as potential MVP, and there's been all this like back and forth about, is Purdy really the MVP? His numbers are amazing, but is he the most valuable player on that team? Is McCaffrey the most valuable player on that team? But then McCaffrey didn't play that great yesterday either. And, you know, they were playing against the Ravens, who obviously have the best record in the AFC. Lamar Jackson is a very good quarterback, but he's not, if you look at his numbers, they're not amazing. Josh Allen doesn't have the most turnovers in the league anymore. For all the talk about him being a turnover machine, Brock Purdy threw 4 interceptions last night. Josh Dobbs has almost as many turnovers as Josh Allen, but that's really more of a commentary on Josh Dobbs. He did not play that many games. Idiots online saying rushing touchdowns don't count. That's ridiculous. If you've got a QB who can pass and run, that makes him a better quarterback. That makes him a better player, and it makes him a more valuable player. The thing about all this MVP talk and various commentators yelling back, you know, Dan Orlovsky says one thing, Nick Wright says one thing. He always says the same thing.
The level of scrutiny Dak's going to get, I wish Josh Allen had gotten 10% of it for also being a turnover machine, but for some reason, Josh Allen has earned this far greater benefit of the doubt. Fine, whatever.
Ugh, that guy.
Here's the thing for Buffalo. They are a dangerous team. They are going to end up being one of the most dangerous teams ever to miss the postseason.
He probably had a really bad day yesterday. Mahomes was not playing up to Nick Wright's standards. But as far as MVP goes, I don't think Josh Allen really cares that much. And I think that's part of why I like Josh Allen so much. There was that whole article that came out recently about McDermott. I have complicated feelings about McDermott. I think McDermott has done a great job these last couple weeks since that article came out, because he's clearly trying to prove something. And good. I'm glad it set a fire under his ass, and now he's figured out time management for games and isn't just playing super soft zone the last 2 minutes of every game. He's actually like sending Ed Oliver out to sack somebody and end the game, because God, we needed that game to be just over.
Hey, somebody in this baby! Somebody in this let's go!
Ed Oliver got an extra $500,000 for that sack, so, you know, yay for Ed Oliver. Ed Oliver for president.
Me! You know what? Actually, trying to tell you what's going on.
In that McDermott article, there was a lot of talk about Josh and the sort of personality he is. He's a golden retriever in a big fucking horse body. And what he wants to do is win. He is mega competitive. But he's competitive about the game. He's competitive as part of a team, as a leader of a team, and as somebody who loves the city of Buffalo, weirdly, and really wants this team that has this reputation for never being able to win a Super Bowl. He wants this team to win a Super Bowl. And I really don't think he gets too caught up in the MVP stuff. I think he knows what his reputation is. I think he knows that there are enough people out there who think he's just not that guy, but he doesn't seem to let it get in his head. That's not what he's thinking about. He's not thinking about padding his stats. He is thinking about winning a game. And you see it in all his interactions with everybody, in his interactions on the sidelines, in everybody's interactions with each other on the sidelines. There is a positivity within this team.
That was the show I was talking about. I mean, where else are you going to go see that throw? Where else are you going to see that?
Not many other places.
Even in games like this last one, that they weren't doing great. They had some good moments, but overall they were struggling. And they pumped each other up.
That's who the we are right there, man. That's who the we are. Let's go.
They weren't yelling at each other. They weren't throwing helmets.
This is Kelsey.
I'm pretty sure people have thrown helmets before.
Good job, D.
That's not my helmet.
And Diggs has this reputation for being a diva. But if you look at most of the footage on the sidelines of Stephon Diggs at most games, he's just pumping people the fuck up because he's like Josh Allen. Everybody says he's a diva and wants to pad his stats. I think he's pissed off about that narrative. I think he's tired about that, and he wants his team to win. And he wants his teammates to play their best. You see that all the time. He's not out there like, why is Cook getting all these passes? He's going up to Cook on the sidelines and being like, do this, I believe in you. That's what makes this team special. And that's why they're fun to watch. And that's why I'm back in this. And that makes me a fair weather fan, hence the title of the podcast. But morally, there are a lot of reasons not to watch football. We're paying these guys millions of dollars to break their bodies for our entertainment. That's kind of fucked up. And they all know about TBIs. They've all heard Daryl Talley's story. They all know that the league isn't necessarily going to take care of them afterwards when their brains are broken and their bodies are broken. You watch that Kelsey documentary and you see him wanting to play with his kids and he hurts. They all hurt. You know, their careers are only a few years. You know, this whole thing this last week about how Christian McCaffrey had to buy presents for the entire O-line because Brock Purdy's on his rookie, last draft pick contract. And people on the internet are like, oh, Brock Purdy says he's too broke to buy Christmas presents. And I'm like, he says he's too broke to buy Christmas presents for every guy on his O-line. And the standards for those presents are sit pretty high at this point. It's kind of a thing with quarterbacks and their O-lines. Just buy all of them golf carts. That's not cheap. Yeah, Brock Purdy makes I think it's like $900,000 a year. It's a lot more than we make. But he lives in California. A ton of it goes to taxes. A ton of it goes to his agent. A ton of it goes to dues. And these guys aren't working until they're 65. If Brock Purdy gets hurt badly before this contract is over, that's it. What if he gets hurt next year and can't come back or can't play to the level where he's going to get an amazing contract? They only make this huge amount of money for so long. Somebody's telling Brock Purdy not to spend all his money on Christmas presents. Good. Superstar players are going to have money to last them their whole lives. The amount of money they make from endorsements is crazy. I don't think Brock Purdy has any endorsements yet because he's just this dorky kid. MVP, maybe, not after last night, but he's just this nice kid. He doesn't have a lot of zing, a lot of personality. He's not Mahomes and his Kermit the Frog voice. He's not Josh Allen. He's not Gronk, who's still making ads even after he's retired because everybody fucking loves Gronk. So yeah, it's a lot of money, but a lot of it's gone off the top, and he might not make it for that long. I didn't want to watch the game for a long time because it wasn't fun to watch these guys break their bodies for our entertainment, and it didn't look like they were actually having all that much fun. The Bills look like they're having fun, and it looks like they enjoy each other's company. And credit for that goes to Brandon Beane for, not drafting assholes. For not picking up free agents that he thinks are going to ruin shit, OBJ was floating around last year. We could have used him, but he seems like a fucking diva. He would have been a nightmare on the team. He and Diggs would have been in each other's face all the time. Don't bring that energy in. Get these guys, off the street. These guys who retired, get Fournette. Get Linval Joseph to throw Joe Burrow across the line of scrimmage by his taint.
Joseph is going around the center, and Joe Burrow is going back about 4 yards from there. Watch this shot put between the legs.
It's one of the funniest things I've seen this year. Don't bring in the superstars necessarily. Bring in the hard workers who are going to have fun on this team and have proven that they can do what we need them to do. Which isn't to say not, get young guys too. We don't need the team to be the oldest team in the league, which, seems like it's creeping towards. But this team's having fun, and they enjoy each other. So let's keep that going. Let's keep that positivity going, because it makes it a lot more fun to watch the game when it's a game. Earlier this season, it didn't look like Josh Allen knew it was a game anymore. He knows it's a game now, and he's having fun.
Let's go!
So, Patriots next week, 2 seed. Hosting games, hosting Patrick Mahomes at Rich Stadium would be fun. I'm still calling it Rich Stadium. What's this Highmark bullshit? Beat the Patriots, beat the Dolphins. We'll see Mahomes in the divisional round again. Let's do that, but this time on our turf. And leave them less than 13 seconds to work with. I'm thinking kind of down the road, but I'm optimistic, and I think we can think that far down the road.
Go Bills.